Hello, friends. This is Maybe I'm Rambling. Today on this link, we're going to talk a little about the current news that weed might not be classified as a little less dangerous by none other than the UN, the masters of doing nothing. The UN reclassifies cannabis as a less dangerous drug. A United Nations commission voted to remove marijuana for medical use from a list of most risky narcotics, such as heroin. See the picture? Tending crops at a marijuana plantation in North Macadamia. A United Nations commission voted on Wednesday to remove cannabis for medicinal purposes from the category of the world's most dangerous drugs, a highly anticipated and long delayed decision that could clear the way for expansion of marijuana research and medical use. The vote by the Commission for Narcotic Drugs, which is based in Vienna, includes 53 member states, consider a series of recommendations from the World Health Organization on reclassifying cannabis and its derivatives, but attention centered on a key recommendation to remove cannabis from Schedule 4 of the 1961 Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, where it was listed alongside dangerous and highly addictive opioids like heroin. Experts said that the vote will have no immediate impact on loosening international controls because the governments will still have jurisdiction over how to classify cannabis. Many countries look to global conventions for guidance, and the United Nations recognition is a symbolic win for advocates of drug policy change, see that the international law is out of date. That is a huge historic victory for us. We couldn't hope for more, said Kenzie Rabole Zamoli, an independent researcher for drug policy who has closely monitored the vote and the position of member states. He said that cannabis had been used throughout history for medicinal purposes and the decision on Wednesday restated that status. The change will most likely bolster medical research and legalization efforts around the world. The vote was a big step forward, recognizing the positive impact on cannabis on patients, said Dirk Hatterprim, a vice president at Canopy Growth, a Canadian cannabis company. We hope this will empower more countries to create frameworks which allow patients in need to get access to treatments. Marijuana for medical use has exploded in recent years, and products containing cannabis derivatives like cannabidiol or CBD, a non-intoxicating compound, has split the wellness industry. Cowen, an investment and financial services company, estimates that the CBD industry in the United States will be worth $16 billion by 2025. Some research has suggested that CBD can protect the nervous system and provide relief from seizures, pain, anxiety, and inflammation. The list of CBD-infused products, including creams, serums, soda water, and juice, is also expanding rapidly. The recommendations for changing the classification of marijuana was first made by the World Health Organization in 2019, but they are politically divisive, which led to unusual delays in the United Nations Commission's vote. The reclassifications passed 27 to 25 with an abstention from Ukraine. The United States and European nations were among those who voted in favor, while the likes of China, Egypt, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Russia were opposed. China's delegates said that despite the United Nations move, the country will strictly control cannabis to protect from the harm and abuse. Britain's delegate said the reclassification was in line with the scientific evidence of its therapeutic benefits, but that the country was still strongly supported in international controls for cannabis, adding that marijuana presented serious public health risks. The differing messages underline the complexities behind the decision. As with the diplomatic circus, said Mr. Rabole Zamoli, who added the same countries who had initially opposed the change, like France, have since switched their position. Michael Krawitz, executive director for Veterans for Medical Cannabis Access, an advocacy group in the United States, said the change in international law will help reduce the suffering of millions of people. It can help mitigate reliance on opioids, knowing that cannabis was an important medication that can provide unique pain relief. Also, on Wednesday, the Commission rejected proposals to include the cannabis derivative THC in the 1961 Convention, which had tightened some controls. The overhaul of cannabis policy, particularly around legalization for medical use, has moved at a rapid pace over the last few years, said Jessica Steinberg, managing director at Global C, an international cannabis consulting group. Industry insiders have expressed hope that the vote will help the field for more research into therapeutic benefits of the drug, but the impact on American and European markets was driving the issue. Ms. Steinberg noted in the United States, where the more states legalized the use of medical and recreational marijuana in recent elections, the market for both was expected to expand more than 34 billion by 2025, according to Cohen. Before the vote this week and the other decriminalization efforts, share prices of some cannabis companies jumped. But aside from the financial boom it can provide for American and European marijuana markets, downgrading the dangers of cannabis may have the biggest impact on countries that have more conservative policies, such as many Caribbean and Asian nations. Something like this does not mean that legalization is just going to happen around the world, Ms. Steinberg said. It could be a watershed moment. And, well, personal notes. I'm not a big fan of cannabis, not a big fan of weed, but there are far more dangerous things that are being sold right now. Opioid is more addictive and more dangerous. Alcohol is more addictive and more dangerous. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine, be it that's all over the place. High fructose corn syrup is a known carcinogen, but yet you can't find a food that doesn't have it. But that's just my personal opinion. Don't forget to subscribe and post your comments to let me see your thoughts. This is Maybe I'm Rambling.